Due to our TV, we shout and scream the name of all our players. But after the match, we celebrate and dance. But few hours after, we remember our troubles and go back. I remember very well that the local church I pastored then was among those churches that were destroyed, vandalized. I narrowly escaped. The fact about it is that it was told by many people that I was killed because I actually went to the church. So nobody knew when I went out of the church. So nobody knew where I went. And so for 2 nights, they never saw me and they were thinking that I was killed. I have a young military officer who is now a general who was worshiping with our church. All my members, including Reverend Johanna Simon, who is now the chief admin officer at the convention headquarters, met in his house at the Air Force Base and they were mourning the demise of their pastor. They didn't know that my young wife was pregnant and I was just caring for the young woman, trying to be sure that nothing evil happens to her. So I ran home and locked myself and her in the room. So nobody knew where we were, and then there was no GSM, so we couldn't communicate. So what just simply happened was, one of the Alhaji who lives in the quarters heard my voice. Oh, I heard his voice, then I went out to greet him because on that fateful day, his motor company was the one that was burned completely if you watch the video. So when I heard his voice, I felt I needed to identify with my neighbor, and I went and greeted him. He said, Reverend, what are you doing in this house? They will kill you. I don't know. He took me into his room and my pregnant wife and locked us in. That was how we stayed. When it was 4 o'clock, he realized that the danger may be there if it is night. He came and said, look, do you know anybody in the barracks so that we move you out of here to the barracks? Of course, I do know people, but I'm not sure at that time I remember to say yes. Well, finally, he brought me out and my wife, and there was also an honorable man who lives in the house, who also felt his wife should join me. He can stay. So we moved away. As we were going, we saw another group standing with their machete. I chose to start this way for you to understand the country we are. As I was moving towards them, funny enough, as a typical northerner, I was used to wearing kaftan. So I went out of my house with a kaftan. Someone, the other group saw and said, who are this one coming? Thank God, one of them is late now, but was my member at Rahama. So he said, oh, that's my pastor. And so they now say, pastor, why are you wearing this? There are younger boys out there who will not believe any story you tell them with this. I have to remove my kaftan, put it in the sack that the honorable woman came out with, and had a T-shirt inside. That was how we entered the army base. No one troubles us. Sadly, there was no place to sleep. My wife became a new Mary because we were looking for an inn for ourselves and the pregnant woman. And so one of the women, who is a Muslim, saw another woman pregnant. The issue was no longer religion, the issue was humanity. And she graciously said, come. But sadly, her husband wasn't home, so she couldn't take my wife into her house. So the only thing she could do was to move my wife into one room, not knowing to us that that is where the goats of the house used to sleep. So she cleaned the place and my wife went in. But as a man, I wasn't going to go in. I'm going to go roam around the barracks, sleep in any veranda till the next day and see what God is going to do. Because already I've spent one night in the other house. Nobody knows where we are until the day I got out. So, well, it happens that way that the goat came back in the night and wanted to enter his room as usual. And there was a visitor and there was no way he will enter. So that was how it ended. We managed till daybreak. And daybreak, my young daughter, who just wrote her final exams as a pharmacist on Friday, our first daughter, she was a small girl at that time. We have not seen her all these 2 days. So we were expecting the next person to her. We became worried. You know how women will be. We have escaped, but what about our daughter? Well, I said, okay, just calm down here. I'm going to go and search for her. And actually, she was schooling not too far from the seminary. So I ran to the seminary. That was when I knew that the seminary was burned down completely. I actually didn't know because I have not gone that way since I escaped the first day. So I asked, and one of the military men asked me, how old is the young girl? I told him her age. And he said, no, don't worry. Children like this, none of them was affected. Just go to the Air Force Base. You may find her. As I was moving into the Air Force Base, that was when I know that they are mourning the death of this young man. Well, they saw me, they embraced me like Peter, who everybody thought was dead. And it was a ceremony. We went, I saw my daughter, and it ended that way. I went back, brought the mother, and we stayed for some time. That is the story continues to where we are today. That is the Nigerian I have experienced. When I gave birth to the young girl, September that 2000, and I named her Jael. For Bible student, you know what Jael is. Jael was the smartest woman who helped in destroying the enemy of Israel by using love instead of violence. So when you heard about my citation, I am doing a lot of peace work globally. You can understand where I'm coming from. I don't want that experience again. I've had many, but they are not important for this lesson. The important one is the one I shared with you. This is the country I am celebrating. This is the country we are celebrating 58th independence anniversary. And we are saying, as a nation, has it been so good or bad? If it has been bad, why bad? The simple answer, without taking most of your time, has always been leadership. The challenge of Nigeria has always been leadership. Leaders are not good at home. Leaders are not good in the office. Leaders are not good in companies. Leaders are not good wherever they find themselves. Leaders are bad. But now when you say leadership, are you talking about some extraordinary human being? No, I'm talking about you and about myself, because everybody seated here is a leader in his own right. One of the challenges many Nigerians have is thinking that leadership belongs to some exclusive group. I want to tell you, leadership belongs to you, to me, and to everybody. Unless we start to understand and act accordingly, we will be blaming others for something we're supposed to correct. If you are waiting for people to correct it, no one is going to correct it, because he is also in trouble. So you and I must be involved to correct it. Then come to our topic, Christians and politics, the Nigerian experience. Leadership in the Nigerian context today is mostly political. Why? The Nigerian Constitution never allows a church, New Estate Baptist Church, to sponsor anybody to contest for councillor of this area. I don't know if that's the practice in Lagos, but I read Nigerian Constitution. The Nigerian Constitution just allowed a political party to sponsor a candidate, and the candidate contests election. The fact is that efforts have been made severally by Nigerian National Assembly to give room for independent candidates, but you know it has not worked up to now. From Kaduna experience, I know that some time ago, specifically in 1987, there was a time Nigeria had a system of option A4. Then it wasn't political party. Purely it was just, if you have a candidate, you support the candidate and queue up behind the candidate. That time, we took advantage of that system. We went and brought out, because I was a young man, but actively following others, and I remember I voted. So we went to the seminary, brought out one of the Baptist pastors who is an indigenous of Kaduna town, Reverend John Aboki, and we queue up behind him. You know, it happens just some few months after the late famous Gumi, not the young Gumi that is still talking now, his father had openly said, and I quote, that according to Islam, a non-Muslim must never rule a Muslim, and he cannot also sit under the leadership of a woman. So, in order to prove him wrong, we brought out John Aboki, supported him because it was option A4, queue up behind him, and he won and became the first Christian chairman of Kaduna local government. Then it was Kaduna, which today is about 3 or 4 local government. But that is not the practice today. Apart from John Aboki, there was another woman called Grace Chechet. She's late now too. Grace Chechet was supported to come out as a counselor within the area that this great preacher, who thinks he can never be ruled by a woman, make noise about. And she won and became the counselor. So for about 3 years, he was sitting under a Christian chairman and under a woman counselor. If you don't know this story, you've heard it from me, because I was actively involved, and I know, Pastor, you remember this story. So, you see, that was then. In today's practice, the practice is that you must belong and join a political party. Oh, political party. And I come from among people whose idea and perception about politics and joining political party has always been negative. Because to many of us, when you talk about politics, you're talking about those people who lie. When you talk about politics, you're talking about those people who cheat. When you talk about politics, you're talking about those people who do uru-uru. When you talk about politics, you're talking about those people who are not straightforward. Am I speaking to someone here? Sadly, it is not true. Because someone enters politics and do wuru-wuru and lie and is not straightforward, do not make politics itself as wuru-wuru and not straightforward. On my side to go into dictionary definition of politics. But as a Christian and as an educated person, you can on your own just read, what is the definition of politics? Politics is never defined as wuru-wuru. Neither is politics defined as lie. But politics is defined as the engagement, the deliberation, the discussion, the dialogue among human beings to decide for something that they feel will be for general good. But when the general good comes and someone manipulates it for his own advantage, do not in any way say that the dialogue in the first place was wrong. What is wrong is the attitude of the man, not the dialogue itself. So many of us refuse to get involved in politics because we have this perception, this understanding that everything associated with politics is evil. To the extent that if someone comes up to this podium to speak, the first thing is, I hope you will not use our pulpit to do politics. Permit me, Pastor, to say that even this preaching we do, in simple definition, is politics. It's not partisan, but politics. Because though hell is real, when I come here every day on the pulpit and say to you, hey, all of you will go to hell, you will stop coming to this church. But when I come here and say, look, God is preparing a place in heaven, a beautiful place that everybody will go. But sadly, those who refuse to follow him will go to hell. So I will pray for you so that you don't go to hell. You will stay. But I've just said the same thing, that hell is real, and those who refuse to follow God will go to hell. But I use words that will attract you. That's what politics is all about. People using words that will attract you, convince you into supporting them and give them mandate so that they will go and represent you. Because they fail to represent you, they do not change the initial concept and the idea of why and what they have gone there to do. I've always cited this example. When you drive on the highway, you will find some terrible drivers. You wonder whether they have brain or not. They drive in such a way as if they want to kill somebody. But truly, they never left their home to kill anybody. Their mind is to go to where they want to go. But because they are not careful, they drive carelessly. Will you just tag every driver to be careless? No. Then you should stop driving yourself. As much as we have careless drivers that have caused other people's pain, that have even killed our brothers, killed our sons, we still have drivers that are good. So when you say driving is evil, no, you are not right. But there used to be drivers who are bad. That's the same thing with politics. Politics itself is not bad, but there are politicians that are bad. One of the examples, or few of the examples I used to give is, we grew up and come into a church where the kind of foundation, the kind of teaching, the kind of words that were used on our pulpit many years back make us grow to have hatred for politics, hatred for participation, hatred for whatever politics bring. One example. I don't know whether you from the southwest here understand it the way. But growing as a young boy with my father in the military, because my father served in the army, I used to hear this until I grew and become mature. Then I know that it was not true. The story is that our parents didn't want us to be, or their parents didn't want them to be carpenters. According to them, the carpenters were crucified Jesus. Have any one of you ever had that? Have any one of you ever had that? No. I want to see whether some people here had that. Please, those that don't be carpenter, because carpenters were the one that crucified Jesus. But is that true? Is that true? Joseph was what? Jesus followed his father to the carpentry shop or not? Hey, and people believe it. That's why the business of furniture making is not common among Christians. It's now that few Christians are coming up. Sadly, all of you seated here, you have furniture in your house. So those who crucified Jesus are the one making furniture for you. That's the impression. That's the impression. It's an impression. And it denies other people having a good profession that would have made them bigger people today. One other one that I'm familiar with, I'm so happy today. Oh, brother, God bless you and your team. You sang very well. I enjoy it because I like music. Music, musicians. Many people didn't go to music many years back, especially those who are elderly than us here. Ask them, they will tell you. The impression that time is that anybody that sing, do music, must drink hard drugs. Is that true? Did you hear that one too? And so many people didn't do it. I won't do it. You know Bob Marley, he used to drink Igbo. Sir, did you drink one when you led us today? sorry. I'm sorry that I'm targeting you. Choir, did you drink one when you joined him today? That is the kind of perception we have about music. It took a long time before we started grappling into music and we are dancing. Because the idea then was that if anybody come and shout hallelujah, jump, 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 he must have taken something. Brother, if the Lord is so faithful to you, you will not know when you are dancing. You don't need to take anything to dance for the Lord. But many people never danced before, never clapped before, never accept being musicians before, because the impression is that, musicians used to drink something hard. Politics is also suffering among us with that kind of perception. Don't go to politics because everybody who do politics will spoil. I can give you evidence or bring to your notice people and testimony of people who went to politics and they came out clean. They may be few, but because they don't have support. If we have support, we can change the story and have larger people going in and coming out clean. The Lord will help us in Jesus' name. Don't forget, what we've been trying to do this morning is to look at Christian participation in politics, the Nigerian experience. So many Nigerians don't go, or many Nigerian Christians don't get themselves involved in politics because they come from these prejudices and stereotype story about politics, about certain things. If you are a military man here, bear with me. I also come from a community that also had some kind of wrong notion and impression about military. Anybody in the military that becomes governor must belong to a cult. They told us that. I know that one. Probably in your village they didn't tell you, but I know that one in my village. So many people were afraid to go into military. Sadly, until when military took over everything, you cannot be governor until you are a military administrator. Then our eyes opened that it's not true. So there are so many myths going on among us, either about music, about politics, about driving, about whatever, and same thing, confusing us. Instead of us pursuing what we're supposed to pursue, instead of us participating effectively to change the fortune of our nation, instead of us standing to defend what rightfully belongs to us, we are not doing it because we are afraid. Now when I come back to the passages we've read, the Bible in Romans chapter 13 said something that is strong. Everyone, including you, including me, including you, including our children who did a wonderful performance here, should be subject to governing authority. And he continues, there is no authority that has ever been established that was not established by God. Hey, this government and this politics we are running away since it is the system that established government. And God is saying that every government you see, whether you like them or you don't like them, God allowed them to exist. Hey, you say you will not participate? You are telling God that, God, this thing you call government, I know one time. Then you will suffer. I used to tell my northern brothers why they need to actively involve in politics, since politics is the channel, is the vehicle to government. Let me quickly give you 3 things. See, you like politics, you don't like politics, they will establish government through politics. And if government is established, government becomes the one that decides your life. Let me tell you the worst one. The 3 worst ones that I think about. There are many, but 3 worst. Mama and Baba give birth to Pekin. Government confirm that the Pekin is born. Do you know that one? You give birth to your child, but it takes authority to confirm that your child is born. How? You cannot on your own give your child birth certificate. The fact about it is that by the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the act establishing National Population Census Commission, it is only the certificate of NPC, birth certificate by NPC, that is valid as a birth certificate. We can call them here, dedicate the child, give them church certificate, but he will come tomorrow, someone will argue it. Recently, we have had so many arguments about some people about certain certificate. One speaker of the House of Representatives had to resign some years back in this country because someone argued that the age he claimed is not his true age. Is that true? Who gives the certificate? Who gives the certificate? Government. If government refuses to give you birth certificate, you are not born. Sorry, am I saying something here? Time will come that you will go. They will say they are looking for people only age 20. And you say you are age 20. Where is your birth certificate? I don't have. Fake. Go out. You are not born. But if government gives you birth certificate that is satisfied by government, Whether you are 40 and claim 20, they will believe it. You can see how powerful government is. So any vehicle that will take us to government to understand how to authenticate the children we are giving birth to, we need to be there so that the wrong policy will not come in the future and even stop us from naming our children. Not only battle, even death. You live your life, you suffer in pains and die. And government still is the one that will certify that you are dead. Am I saying what is happening? Die. I pray you will not die in Jesus' name. But if death comes and your family want to go and pursue whatever belongs to you, they will ask them for what? They will ask them for what? The bank will say without this certificate we will not agree. The office will say without this certificate we will not agree. Every establishment will refuse without this certificate. Who authorizes this certificate? Government. So when you run from government, she will deny that you were not born. She will deny that you were never dead. Let me tell you the worst one. You labor all your life looking for money, and you get money. Then you realize that the nation or the community or the country is bad because of evil people who are criminals. You run to the bank, you want to open an account. And the bank will tell you, you cannot open an account until you have a driving license, until you have an international passport, until you have national identity card, until you have voter's card. Who gives those certificates? Government. It's your money. I don't want to waste time to talk to business people who know exactly the influence of government in business. See, even your bank, government can just come with one policy and change every story. Ask Sky Bank, they will tell you what happened. Are we speaking somewhere? So government is everything about our life, everything about our future. So and the road, the vehicle, the channel to government is politics. During the military era, I would have asked you to go and enter soldier. Sadly, military era is what? Over. Now, what will make you a government person? You can be a civil servant, but you know that the man you just elect today can come. You are only doing errand for him. He is the one in charge. So government is the vehicle to influence any policy of life, be it social, be it economy, be it family, be it religious. Put them together. Government is the vehicle that can influence and direct those systems to favor you or not favor you. So when we talk about Christian participation in politics, the Nigerian experience, Christians in Nigeria are supposed to know that it is not just a choice, but it is mandatory for us to wake up and actively get involved in the politics of our land if we want to change it. Remove all the stereotypes. Remove all the stories they've told you yesterday that politics is evil, politics is that. If politics is truly dirty, then it needs soap to wash it. And one of the soap I would recommend is Christians going in and washing it. When Christians refuse to go in and wash it, when Christians refuse to go in and clean it and sit somewhere grumbling, talking about it, you can talk for the next 20 years, it will not change the story. What changes the story is you inside. I used to cite an example with Kaduna State. Kaduna State, to many who believe what we are saying, is about 50-50 between Christians and Muslims. Now, many Christians in my state, probably the same in Lagos, in the beginning didn't want to be part of politics. You will find a community where 50,000 of the people, 48,000 are Christians, and only 2,000 are non-Christians. But they will be the ones to decide the politics of the 48,000. Because nobody is interested. And I was reading just a few days ago a circular from INEC. And I just say, hey, you see what I've been talking about? INEC said, some of you may have read it, and I quote, that they will not accept any nomination that is not endorsed by the national chairman of the party or the national secretary of the party. So if you think you have brother, if he is not the chairman of the party, he is not the national secretary of the party, whether he send your name, they will refuse it. And you don't become national chairman of by just being a deacon in our church. You don't become national chairman of a party because you give tithe in our church. You become national chairman of a party by active participation in the political process. When parties are formed, Yes, you may think that they are more than you, but you see, when you actively get involved, when you become very close with them, you are doing what they are doing, you go to their meeting, you know what they discuss, agenda number one and number last, a time will come that shame will catch them. They will say, this man is just working with us. We've not even asked him to be anything. Can you be our chairman? Can you be our secretary? You think you sit in your house and they come and beg you? No. They are going to give the man they are seeing every day. They will never give you because you know how to wear a green dress. But they will give you because every day in their meeting, you are part of them. I have listened to many conversations from many Christians, especially in southeast Nigeria. Oh, Pastor, the problem we are having is that if you join politics, you must go end up being a cult member. It is not completely true. The reason why you end up being a cult member is because we have allowed politics to be in the hands of only cult people. So the day you become greedy, you want office like them, then they will entice you with their cultism. But if originally we formed the party without them, we formed the majority in the party and they are just minority, how can they influence us? But because they know the kind of story on your head, they are frightening you, giving you a picture as if everything is bad. If you come, you are going to die. Hey, God is God. The Bible says the heart of a king is in the hands of God, and he can turn it to every direction like a watercourse. Don't you know God anymore? And you are thinking that man owns your life? See, there's a scripture that I like. It says, when your ways are pleasing to the Lord, when your ways are pleasing to the Lord, he will make even your enemies live at peace with you. He still remains your enemy, speaking evil about you, but when he sees you, he will not do anything. He will assume you know. When Prophet Elisha was sitting in Samaria, and the king of Syria did all his plans, Scripture tells us that one day he just assembled his men and said, someone among you has been betraying us. Why is it that he knows everything we plan? And one of them said, Oga, the man, no, not anybody. Even if it's in your bedroom you talk, the man will know what you said. That's how God works among his people. See, life is about diplomacy. Are you saying that everybody in government is evil, everybody in authority is evil? I'll quickly remind you the story of Nehemiah. I'll go further to remind you the story of Ezra. I'll go further to add to the story of Daniel. Daniel, Nehemiah, Ezra all serve as advisor to terrible, wicked kings who were ungodly. And because they accept to be there, you talk about Mordecai, they influence so many things. You see, the wicked ones in Nigeria may have taken over the country, but when we get closer, we will influence it, and before you know, we will also take over. But we cannot take over by just sitting in our church every day. We are having all night and night vigils. All night is good. Night vigils is good because God himself in Jesus Christ said to us, watch and pray. All of you are praying, you are not watching. Because to watch and pray are two different things. No selective obedience. Pray, yes. Watch. How can you watch until you see it happen? So we need to participate actively in what happens in our land, the politics of our land, the choice of governor, the choice of minister, the choice of president, the choice of everybody. Yesterday, some representatives slept all through the night in Port Harcourt because they want to give us a candidate. Thank you. Baba said they are there. If you ask, how many of us even care to talk to them? Hey, what are you doing? I hope you are doing what is right for Nigeria. As I speak to you, because I have worked with so many of them, I call them. I speak with them. Sometimes I argue with them and tell them, hey, they are telling you this man is good. I have heard from people, the man is not good. Why? I don't want to continue to lament for something that I can correct. And how do I correct it? I get involved. Actively get involved. I may not be a card-carrying member of any political party because I'm a pastor, but I want to know who governs me in my state. Because with the experience of this many years, I just realized that the challenge we've always had that comes back to crisis of killing and destroying people is because we put wrong people in governance. And since I also know very well that I cannot influence who becomes a governor if I don't know what the political system is doing, then I must get involved so that when next governors are being chosen, I will also influence to make sure that they don't choose the wrong people. Church, just about a week ago, our state did primaries for who will contest. I don't belong to party, but I'm worried with the kind of governance we have. The governor today has caused many Christians pains. And my people are crying, but he's my friend. And I said, no, I won't allow you to cause my people more pains. So I want to see who will take over from you. I get involved. We influence it in such a way that it was in a room with 8 of us that chose and decided among all the 11, this one is more friendly, this one is more godly, this one can deliver the goods. And we did our homework and influenced our people to go his direction. Many bishops across are calling and say, oh, Pastor, we've heard the way you people did it. I didn't even know that they posted the names of those of us who did it until yesterday. Pastor was telling me that he also read it himself and saw my name there. Because we cannot fold our arms and allow people to continue to cheat us. If he comes and misbehaves, I will join another group to remove him so that every day as we are removing them, they will now learn that we have influence. If he thinks that he is God, he comes and misbehaves, I join people to remove him. When 1, 2, 3 are removed because they misbehave, the 4th one will begin. Well, it's not a system where one individual dictates everything for people. Those days are gone. Where is our education? Where is our power? Where is our God's given place that we allow people to continue to dictate for us? As a Baptist, I know one of the greatest challenges probably they say, no, Pastor, in the Baptist church, we teach separation of church and state. That's true. Pastor, you are the pastors. Me too. My knowledge and understanding of separation of church and state is not that we shouldn't be in politics. But it simply said, when you are president in your country, you are governor in Lagos, you are chairman in Surulere, if it is local government at all, you are a House of Assembly member, a senator or whatever, good. When you come to our church, you are just a member. That's what it means. In our church, you are a member. So you will sit there and receive blessings like every other member from the pastor. If we do protocol in church, we don't say, Your Excellency, Governor, no. The pastor in charge of New Estate Baptist Church, Reverend Kunat, and all the other pastors, then Your Excellency. Because in church, you are number one. I hope you understand. Never in that doctrine, it says we shouldn't be part of government. No. It is simply saying when we come to church, we treat people equally without prioritizing or rating others above others. But we should be actively involved in what happened. The most fearful verse is, it says the earth and its fullness thereof belongs to God. Hey, that means Nigeria belongs to who? Nigeria belongs to who? And I'm God's son. You are God's daughter. And someone is bastardizing what belongs to your father and you are not doing anything. No, you don't understand position in the things of God. Because God created me in this country when he asked us to pray and asked people to pray in their dialect. I didn't know I know how to speak my dialect until now. Because when I was just asking God, this one where you make me born for this country, what do you want from me? I was saying it so fluent in my language that I said, hey, I'll go home and start a new church. No, you see, sincerely, God placed us here because he has a plan and purpose for us. So this country belongs to us, not for Buhari, not for Atiku, not for Saraki, not for anybody, for us. They are just first among equals. Opportune to lead us at this time. So I should influence and bring my influence to bear so that they will know that there is one small man called Hayab. And I can see great men and great women here. If there are so many people influencing in Lagos, influencing in Kwara, influencing in Abuja, influencing in Adamawa, influencing in Gombe, influencing in Borno, influencing in Port Harcourt, they will sit up. But because we allow this small exclusive group to decide what happens to us and how we go further, so they continue to do it about themselves without understanding us. So I challenge us that the experience of governance in Nigeria is enough for Christians to wake up and be actively involved in politics. You may ask me, but Pastor, this politics is dangerous for women. Hey, How will you say we should be involved? This kind of year life they live. If we put our sisters, our mothers, our wife, will they not disgrace us? And I have a simple answer for you. If today, all these our fathers, all these our young men, including some of our deacons, including some of our church leaders, are members of this political party because they want to change Nigeria, and some of the sisters here join the political party, if the meeting exceeds beyond 1 up to 2, for the mere fact that those senior elders here and senior men of this church are part of it, will the husband be angry? Oh, why are you not back? The meeting have extended too long. We are still talking about which candidate to go. But myself and the church secretary and deacon in charge of mission are all here. The husband will be at home. But we don't go. Since she will go and meet wrong people, that's why we begin to have a perception that the moment she go there, evil is happening. If you were there, I am there, everybody is there, will you be afraid that evil will happen to her? No. So, all these things we have always said. You see, I keep telling church members that some of the perceptions we have about the evil that happened there is because we are not involved. But when we are involved, to a large extent, they will reduce the evil they are doing. I have served as an advisor to 2 governors, and I realized that as much as they speak bad about these people in power, when they see me, at the time I was serving, they will reduce some of the things they are doing. To the extent that my name then was God bless you. Because as a pastor, if I meet you in the morning, you say, good morning, sir, God bless you. If in the afternoon, how are you, sir? God bless you. You know, I was so used to that. One day the governor said, I learned that your name is God bless you. I say, yes. So if they are having a meeting, they have no option than to ask me to what? To pray. Sir, if I believe that God can use prayer to move mountain, then I pray there God will stop them from doing evil. We can reduce the rate of evil until we eradicate it completely. I am not asking you to go one day and change everything, but gradually increase in our participation, we can change the story one day. A day will come that Christians in Nigeria can decide who becomes the president of Nigeria. A day will come that Christians in Lagos will decide who becomes the governor of Lagos State. A day will come that Christians in this community will decide who goes to the House of Assembly for them. Why? Because they are participating. If you don't, they will only toy with you. I don't want to dabble into the stories of politics in Lagos State, which some of you who are knowledgeable understand. A shame. Sad. It could sound sweet, but it shows that there's a problem. There is danger ahead. It may pay you temporarily, but the damage is big in the future. What are you doing? Who are you waiting for? What is it that that man knows that you don't know? What is it that that man can do you don't? Oh, he knows how to buy people. People are not bought. Oh, people are only befriend. If I befriend pastor of youth, befriend this one, befriend them. And tomorrow, I have shown them kindness. I have stand for them when nobody knew. Tomorrow, when they go to a meeting and my name is mentioned, anybody who speaks against me, they will come and tell me. Is that true? Is that true? Is that true? If you call that one and have bought them, you're wasting your time. If ordinarily I just sit down and they say, oh, Reverend Hayab, you are now the governor of Lagos State. And I call this sister, I say, come, sister, I know you are an economist. You will help me because you know how to do finance very well. She comes, I call another person, oh, you are an engineer. I want to construct a lot of roads. So I want to put you as the commissioner for works because you help me do a lot of good things. If you abuse me to them and to their relations, you are telling me the story direct. So most time we sit down and say, they've bought people. Yes, they do buy people. But sometimes they are also smart and know that they won't take money direct and buy people. So they buy them with friendship. Why are you not befriending people? You live in your community, you don't greet anybody in your community, you don't even come when they are doing community service, repairing their roads, and you think one morning you will just come out and tell them, hey, brothers, I want to go and represent you as a house member. A wise person there will know that you are not telling the truth. Those ones are smart enough. What they will do is that they come to a community, they may be nobody, but one day they will start befriending. Now, we are doing work. Sorry, I'm busy, but I'm going to help. They will give 500,000. Oh, I can see you are doing something. Everybody is seeing. Tomorrow when a meeting is holding and people are thinking, who should go for us? That man that used to help us. There is this very interesting story about a man who was a friend to a king. What he quickly asked from the king was saying, King, I don't want you to give me anything, but just allow me to do one thing. And the king said, what is it? He said, I want any time you go to public function, if you are seated, I can come and just whisper something to your ear. What kind of request is that? Well, the king graciously agreed and said, okay, no problem, as long as you are going to tell me what will help me. He didn't know the plan of that man. What happened is that anytime they are in a function, people will just see him come and the king will put his ear. He will say something, and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. People now begin to understand that the king used to listen to this man. So we should go to this man because the king will listen to us. Nobody knows exactly what he was telling the king. But you see, he has succeeded in winning people believing that he influenced the king. God has given you and I wisdom, strength, and good health. Why are you afraid? I'm bringing this teaching to a close as I begin to talk about two things that is important. One, the place of information in politics. Politics is about information. The absence of information makes you find it difficult to understand what politics is all about. Those of you who come from the southwest and southeast and probably south-south, some of you used to brag and beat your chest and say, oh, you know, according to statistics, UNICEF said that the educational level of southwest is 80%, 90%, 95%. In the north, they are just 25 or 40. I want to tell you a bad news. With your degrees and knowledge, a typical illiterate northerner is more informed politically than you. So you can, if you are going to meeting, you carry all your lawyers, you carry all those professors. They say professorial thing. One illiterate man who is just frying akara will say one word and your professors will be watching. Because politics is not just about certificates. Politics is about humanity. And they know how to do it. They get information. I used to tell people that some of us seated here as husbands and wives, children, grandchildren, and relations. One of our greatest undo is that we don't read news. We don't listen to news. I watch TV, I watch ball, I watch movies, but I will not compromise wanting to know the news of my country. Some of our mothers here can tell you all the episodes of Z-World. But when you ask them, what happened last week in Lagos? Is there anything? Some of our young people seated here can tell you the names of all the football stars in the world. How, who scored, and when Manchester were able to equalize and change. That's the information they have. They can sit and manipulate the story and you assume they are paying them fee from Manchester or Chelsea. Sadly, Manchester, Chelsea do not know them. After that, what is happening in Lagos, they don't know. What is happening in the politics of Lagos, they don't know. See, simple information about the election, they don't know. Because the system of the people I grow among them is they train themselves from being children to the time they grow old to love news. That's why even President Buhari, whether he is sick, he has you by his side. In the morning, 6 o'clock, Voice of America. 6:30, BBC. 7 o'clock, Radio France International. 7:30, Deutsche Welle. Having listened to all those international news. 10 o'clock in the night, Jakamo Gori. That's the name of the story. They call it Jakamo Gori. It's like a gossip program in Hausa. So they will manipulate the story. In the story, they will tell them that, you see, election is coming up next week. Precisely on the 13th. Saturday next week is 13th, but let me use Saturday next week. 13th of October will be election. The election will start at 9 o'clock. Election materials will not arrive until 9 o'clock. Or until 8:50. So accreditation will start at 9:15 and will stop at 10:20. At 10:20, election will start and stop at 2 o'clock. They are fully aware of the picture. Okay, you who know Boko very well, you didn't hear the story. What you just know is that election 13 October. What else you don't know? In the morning on 13 October, you will wake up. Quickly bath or brush your teeth and wear one of your small canvas and just move there. 7 o'clock, you are there. They never say 7 o'clock. You will wait. 7:30, they have not come. You see, they've started cheating us again. Are they cheating you? No, you don't know the information. 8 o'clock, 1 hour I have been here, they are not here. You know I told you they bought this INEC. Because they never say they will come 8:30. I have told you. I've always tell you that these people have sold Nigeria. It is not because they sold Nigeria, it's because you are not informed. When it is 8:45, I've stayed here 1 hour 45 minutes. What else? Let me go. You are leaving in 5 minutes, they arrive. Before you reach home and remember and hear the story that they have come, they finish accreditation. You come back, I must do it. No, sir. The law says this. You see, they've started again. They never start anything. It was your foolishness. The way we take information about our country, we are not serious. I beg us, I'm not going to advocate that you shouldn't go for entertainment. I'm only saying that combine and plan your program. When you watch it, remember there is time for news. If you cannot hear another one, why don't you remember that TVC will give their news at a particular time? Why don't you remember Channels News? Why don't you remember there is also Silverbet News? Why don't you remember there's Network News? There's AIT News. So 8 to 10, 11, different news. So if you cannot hear all, try to hear one. How can you take all the hours, 8 to 11 o'clock, watching Z-World, watching African Magic? What magic has it bring to you? Only the magic of punishment, grumbling, and putting wrong leaders in place. You watch ball from 12 o'clock in the afternoon until 12 in the midnight. You finish Premier League, go to La Liga, go to Serie A. Now you, they carry give you. And you are thinking you can explain to people all this. Yes, it will help you that you know the story. But after finishing La Liga, you will come back and remember that there's a problem in Nigeria that you have not solved. That's simply what I want to teach. So I encourage us that we should be informed about the happenings in our land. We should participate. We should take it as a civic responsibility. Because if the Bible says in Proverbs chapter 29 verse 2 that when the righteous rule, people rejoice. But when the evil people are in authority, people will groan. Are you not seeing it? Are you not experiencing it? Is it not affecting you? I visited a very important Nigerian recently, and I challenged him about what is happening. And he said, my son, I'm sorry. I was part of those who did the mistake. And I own up. But I beg you, just tell our people to do one thing. They shouldn't be afraid about all those figures they are hearing. Let them register and get their voter's card. You know, in politics, those who are not informed get afraid. If you read Nigerian politics, those who don't know, I'm from the north. And I want any northerner who will challenge me. They will tell you, whether you like this government or you don't like this government, he has already stored 18 million votes. That is propaganda. I come from that region. I know the truth. But so many people who don't know are so scared. No, no, no. When I break the figure to you, you will now know that every story that you are hearing is not true. But because it's not about him, it's about Nigeria. We must wake up. If we don't get the desired change we want by 2019, we should be able before 2023 change what we want. Because you don't start it one day and get it tomorrow. You can start it after 3 days before you get it. Politics require patience. And if you must do politics, you must develop thick skin. Don't listen to everything people say, the negativity. Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 20 and 21 says, and I quote, do not open your ears and listen to everything people say. You may hear when your servant is cursing you. Many people are afraid to go into politics because they are thinking, hey, they will say this. Hey, they will say this. Hey, you do it, you don't do it. They will say it. Pastor, they know the talk. Have you stopped preaching? Even pastor, we talk. And as Baptists, I want to use this to challenge you. You know, the Baptist church is a model of democracy. These pastors didn't just come here. You passed through process of selection. Is that true? Hey, you do business meeting and receive report. Is that true? Some people here are so specialized that they will absent themselves every Sunday. But if they know that business meeting is next week, they will be here. Because they are ready to ask many questions. And I say, good. These professors of asking questions church would have gone into political party and asked them questions. How much do you gather here? If you gather much money, it's not more than 500 million. Not more than 1 billion. But there are trillions of naira and you're not asking questions. Your matter is just the small one here. Yes, because you know how to ask questions in our business meeting. Good. If we gather 1 billion here and you ask questions, good. Please, advance and go to political class and ask them questions. What happened to our trillions? Because the Baptist model of leadership is more like what is happening in government. I come as the president and call to order. I come as the president and chairman of business meeting and tell you the subject of discussion. I come as the president or pastor and tell you, okay, this is what we want to do. And you become the legislative and also the executive by saying, yes, pastor, we are going to improve the Sunday school class of our children. But the money you are cutting or the committee is cutting is too much. We can build this Sunday school class with just 200 million. Why are they telling us 500 million? Good argument. I wish we can get these experts who argue like that in our church to go to APC and argue, to go to PDP and argue, to go to ABGA and argue, to go to SDP and argue, to go to ADC and argue, and go to National Assembly and argue. Why are you an expert in argument in only a local Baptist church? You know how to ask questions. You even manipulate the question to the extent that where there is no fault, you want to bring fault. Okay, here you have an opportunity that is bigger than the one in New Estate Baptist Church, in Nigeria, in the House of Assembly, in Lagos State. Go and challenge them. Tell them, I know how much they gave you from Paris Club. What happened to it? God will take you there. Amen. If you are not there, God will take your children there. Amen. But let's begin with you, parents. Please understand that this country will go from worse to worse if we do not actively get involved in the things that are happening. Teach your children about what is happening in this country. My young daughters will tell you every experience I have outside. When I come in the evening, I'll keep them by my side and tell them, you know, this is what's happening in our country. So know this, know this, know this, know this, know this. I will even insist and told them, the last time I spoke with them, I said, you are 20, where's your voter's card? No, Daddy, you told me the other day I've gotten one. I have a lot of children in my house because my house is like another battalion. My late brother left 7 children and they are in my house. Many other relations are in my house. I told them, you want school fees? Good. Bring your voter's card. My second daughter, the one that I said jail, who just clocked 18 last September, when she came for that weekend, she said, Daddy, you know I'm the one that have no voter's card, so don't tell me about school fees. I say, I know. Before you clock 18, because I'm not also going to encourage them to do an illegal thing. So I never asked her to register because she's not 18. She must be 18 before she registered. So since she was 18 after registration had closed, I now tell her that, open your ears. The day you hear they are doing registration, if you don't do it, then this law of no school fees will apply to you. I can see from them the joy of knowing what is happening. My daughter will call me and say, Daddy, I hope everything is going on well with our state. I'm hopeful, I want our state to be better. Because I want them, if they grow, they should be part of nation building. God bless you.
Let's put our hands together some more. All right. Amen. Amen. Praise the Lord. All right. Let me identify. I'd like to appreciate our brother for sharing with us and challenging us on these things. They are not theoretical. He's very practical about the things that he has shared. So maybe he has punched some buttons that you want to react about. You want to ask one question or the other about Christian participation in politics, Nigerian experience. And let's see if we can take 1 or 2 questions from the brethren. I see Grandpa Dekin Faburi. I see your hand. All right. I saw another hand directly behind him. I see Brother Victor. I knew Brother Victor was going to comment. Amen. All right, I have 3 people. Let's start with those 3 people first. Please, can you come closer? Come closer. We have the microphone. Good.
thank you, Pastor, for
Thank you, sir.
speaking so candidly to us. I see Christians, especially Southern Christians, as a nation of grumblers. We grumble a lot and we do not act. There is this allegation in many Christian quarters that some elements in the current government are trying to Islamize Nigeria. I think it is silly because we equally have some Christians in government. Indeed, our vice president is a pastor.
Oh,
and I ask people who make these allegations that while those elements are trying to Islamize Nigeria, what are the Christians who equally are in government doing to Christianize Nigeria? The usual reply I get is that those Christians are compromised. Why are they compromised?
Thank you.
Maybe you have an answer. I don't know. Thank you.
Let's get the second question.
Okay, I want to ask, how much can we trust the things we listen to on the news? How true is what we hear on the news?
Thank you. The third person, please, okay.
My question is, we know that in our country now, we have two parties, two major parties. Last week, a friend of mine, a very good Christian, ventured into politics, and he went into another party, which is not one of these two parties. And the church said, why didn't you go into one of these two parties? Because the party he went into, nobody knows about the party. So the question is, how can the church help in building one's interest in a new party apart from these two major parties?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I think those are the three questions, and let me quickly attempt to answer them. Beginning with the last one. The issue of two parties. Well, at the last count, we were 91, is that? Am I right? That means I'm also current. At the last count, we were 91. And you see, in every democracy, even America, I didn't want to talk about all these things because I wanted to focus on reality of our country. Even in America, they have other platforms that people can contest. Sometimes people don't go to contest presidency on the platform. They instead contest councilor, house member, and so on. You know, in the U.S., states have senators apart from the national senator. I hope you get that. So people could use those platforms to contest. So some parties are local in nature to give the people the opportunity to contest. The reason why the mega parties seems to absorb everything is because of structure. Party without structure, even if you get votes, you will have problem. So people want to have, a very prominent Nigerian recently called me and say, Pastor, I have heard you talking and I just feel you can advise me. I want to contest presidency on that social platform. How do I do? And I said, if you say you want to be Nigerian president and only president, you will not win. He said, what do you mean? I said, can you, number one, go to local communities where popular candidates, because of manipulation of the major party, are denied tickets. Give them the ticket of your party as house members. Go further to give others ticket of your party as federal representatives. Go further to give ticket of your parties as governors. Go further to give tickets of your party as senator. As they are campaigning for House of Assembly locally, senator locally, House of Reps locally, governor in the state, they are now campaigning for you. But you alone, you just want in the name of your party to be president, and you don't have those people in the 774 local governments in Nigeria, you are a total failure. So I think the matter is strategy and understanding. I hope you understand. If you can strategize, you can change the story of these two mega parties. I'll give you a practical example. In the last local government election in our state, in the community where we live, they call it Sabontesha. In Sabontesha, ABGA is not a popular party. But the young man that everybody wanted to be councillor was denied party ticket in PDP and APC because everybody believed that when you get that one, you are almost there. He went and picked ABGA. But because most of the boys around are his boys, sir, SICOM had no option than to announce him the winner. He just did his Thanksgiving 2 Sundays ago for winning and become councillor. So this thing can start working from that level until it grows. So the system is, and then two, money issue. People believe that politics is about big money. So they believe you must give them millions of naira. And I say that's a danger. If the man spends million to go, he will have to recuperate that million before he starts serving. Can we for once stop asking them money and look for someone who will represent us? So that the man will not spend much money but will deliver the goods. This may be for a start. Probably the explanation is bigger and longer than this. We cannot do it in a church service. Number two, how much can we trust what we're listening to from the news? I quite agree that there are many fake news. I know about that. But let me also say something. There is a problem with prejudice, where everything you see, you disagree with it. It can damage you too. Give everything the benefit of the doubt. Scripture says, test every spirit to know whether it's of God or the enemy. If you tell me that there is fight in Jos, I won't argue with you. I will drop my phone. But I won't tell anybody that you told me that there's a fight in Jos. At least I know people. I'll call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in Jos and say, is there a fight? One man may tell me, no, there's no fight. That's his area. Another one will tell me, no, but they were running. You can see the story is changing. Another one will tell me, no, they just killed someone in our place. I've added to the information. So we cannot just live our life and say everything is a lie. Prove it, go further to inquire. We live in a time when, data is cheap. With 500, 100 naira, you can get data from Glo, whatever. Everybody that gets any fake information will just forward it because he's having a cheap data. So Christians become the circulator of false story. Nobody is willing to sacrifice 10 naira or 30 naira to ask and make inquiry if the story I'm hearing is true. Just 3 or 4 days ago, you remember, I was sitting down in a meeting. We were holding a meeting, very important meeting, and I got a message. I opened it. Congratulations, Leah Sherebu is free. Leah, I just excused the person we are holding meeting with. And I put a call across to Nathan Sherebu, the father of Leah, because I've been to Depchi myself. It's part of this thing I'm saying. When the Leah story became too much, I didn't want to be part of those who are spreading false story. I went to Depchi. I drove to Depchi. I spent a night around them. I worship in the local church. They were having their guns. We were doing Bible study. They wonder which type of pastor. Others are coming and running. You are staying. I say, I want to know facts. I met the pastor. I met the police Christians that are there. I met Christian workers. I went to Nathan's house. I sat with the wife. I had the pictures. The fact is that for purposes of information, some of those who are writing books about Leah today got the information about her certificate and everything from me, including those who do video. Because I didn't want to tell the lies people are telling. So I got a different story from what people are saying. So when I called the father, he now said, Reverend, if there's anything like that, if I don't tell you number 1, you will be number 3 that I will tell. So nothing. I called the ECWA headquarters, nothing. So those who were sending, when I started telling them it's a lie, they were even arguing and saying, why are you saying it's a lie? I say, I have confirmed it is not true. So I think it is safer we begin to do some cross-checking of information than just spreading stories that are not true. So believe stories or accept stories, then go further to confirm whether they are true or false. If you stop the man from telling you the story, the day he will bring good story, you will not know. And another side of it is that if you are fond of telling lies, and people have known you for telling lies, the day you will bring true story, it will be seen as lies. So 2 ways. The last question is about Islamization of Nigeria. It is true that there are some leaders in Nigeria that their agenda is evil. But our approach to addressing their agenda is also not right. How can you tell me that Osibanjo is a compromise? No. Osibanjo finds himself in a government where he is number 2. he is not the chief executive. And certain things happen beyond the talk of church. These Osibanjo people are saying, I'm a northerner, but I come in contact with this man precisely in 2002. I still have the picture I snapped with him 2002 at one hotel in Ikoyi when we brought Baroness Kos to come and help us get the release of the nurses in Azare Hospital that were dismissed that time. You can see it's an old story. Then he was the Attorney General of this state. Through this man, I was able to help so many northerners get out of trouble because of crisis. It's a story Osibanjo himself would never want to talk to anybody, but because I'm privileged to be talking to Christians, I think I should start telling you the truth. I was part of it. I remember 2 years ago, I was somewhere, and I saw the new president of EYN. And I said, oh, you are the president. Congratulations. Oh, thank you for coming to our meeting. He said, Reverend Hayab, I should be the one to thank you. You've forgotten me. When Boko Haram crisis started, you were bringing motorcycles to all pastors in Maiduguri who are victims of the crisis. And I was one of them that time. Who gave me this man that you are saying is a compromise? He has been actively involved in standing for all these things. Many legal aids we get to release many Christians that had problem is the man. But you see, when it comes to governance and politics, he has removed someone and they replace him. What will he do? If he gets angry like you and me and resign, he has only given them space to complete what they've started. So please be careful when you castigate people. I am angry with this government, but I'm not going to castigate the man. I won't. And I've just used some few stories to tell you the foundation of his efforts that I know. Since he became president, I've only been to Villa one day for prayer. And he said, Pastor, where have you been? I said, no, this is not what I'm supposed to do here. I was with you when we were doing our work for helping people. Now it's government. Do with it because I cannot be part of this. I'm not angry with him because I understand the system. We do respect church. Our president is being hijacked by people who we know what they are doing. We don't want to talk about that because people are afraid. But those in power know. So for once in Nigeria, Nigerians must come out and shout and scream. They are taking advantage of the weakness of the man, and they are doing so many things, and Nigerians are not talking. But some of us are talking. We've said it. If you Google my name, you will see that I'm actually a talkative when it comes to Nigerian issue. I'm not afraid of anybody. I'll speak my mind. Why? If I keep quiet and things get bad, it will be back on me. So we balance it. I just chose to say this so that you'll understand that Islamization, possible some people want it that way. But how we approach it to defend and protect it is another approach that we need to see. Because when it comes to leadership, this morning I engaged so many bishops in a chat because they were telling me, Adam Oshimale is not a Christian. I have to respond to them and say, no, the man is known as Eric. The man came into Kaduna to work with the textile. His wife influenced him and he became Catholic. He didn't become Catholic when he became governor. He was Catholic long before he even went to president of any NLC. But people don't know this. The SGF of Nigeria, Boss Mustafa, the name Mustafa sometimes is tempted as if he's a Muslim. Boss is a strong member of the Full Gospel Businessmen International. He's a godly person. Since he became SGF, as much as we criticize what they are doing, but he creates time every quarter for us to meet and pray that God's will be done in Nigeria. So there are a few individuals that will keep counting and say what they are doing. So when we generalize statements and say it, truly, if Muslims want to Islamize Nigeria, I too have a way that I can Christianize Nigeria. I hope you understand. So, and as Reverend Hayab, the way I'm Christianizing Nigeria is I'm wooing so many Muslims, including the tough people, and telling them that I am a Christian deep inside and out, and I'm not going to compromise Christianity, but I will be your friend. And I think it is more of evangelizing them than accusing them. Today, out of those looking for presidency in the last night primaries, not less than 6 of them did call me directly to speak with me. And I asked myself, who am I? I'm actually a poor man. I'm nobody. But I think people have told them the little influence I weigh. I hope you get me. So, but if I'm criticized, I'm being so abusive every day, they will even run away from me, and I wouldn't know even the plan they have against me. So some of these general words is Islamic. Okay, if they want to Islamize Nigeria, let's churchalize Nigeria now. How many of us Christians here are so good to Christians that we are accusing some people? Some of us, the thing we do to Christians here, even a non-Christian will never do that to the Christian. So I don't like this whole idea that you just tell people bad, 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 bad. I have a Muslim who only called me photocopy. And I used to tell people the story of the photocopy was When I was rotating off in 2010 as the advisor, as the secretary of CAN in Kaduna State, Yakoa, the late Yakoa, called me in and said, young man, what do you want to do? I said, sir, I'm going abroad to further my study. He said, no, you have been struggling for us to get power, and God has given me governor. I know you understand politics of religion. Come serve as my advisor so that we can change the story of Kaduna State. The day he wrote my appointment letter, signed it, I held the paper like this and we prayed with some elders. Then he said, but there's no photocopy. How do we do? He called a man who is my brother. We are all Christians, very close, and gave him to go and photostat. But the man didn't know that we prayed over the appointment letter. Few hours later, I came to receive it after photocopy. He told me that the governor has not even signed the letter. And we never saw the letter up to today. So we have to just find a photocopy of it that he hides somewhere in a file after 2 weeks. So the man who saw the photocopy is a Muslim. So he now come and say, here is the photocopy. So my other name is photocopy because my appointment was a photocopy. I want us to be just careful. I'm balancing my stories. Yes, there may be something like that, but what are you doing to show the other side? When it comes to Christianity, if we show the love of Christ the way we're supposed to show, they will be afraid. When we stop showing the love of Christ the way we're supposed to show, we are giving them room to dominate. Our Muslim counterparts are very smart at loving people because they want to use love to win everybody. We, as Christians, we start suspecting people by tribe. If the man says Salaam alaikum, he already knows he's his brother Muslim. We, even if he says Shalom, you will ask him whether he's Yoruba, Hausa, or Igbo.
All right.
I just want to say something about I've been trying to work with the convention for quite some years now. I was part of the committee. The fact that I chaired, I remember Chris Lay here in Shepherd Hill, and a few other pastors we met, and resolved that as a convention, we need to start what we call an Ecumenism for Development and Peace initiative. Part of the work of EDAPI will be to address this kind of thing, so that we don't wait until during election, then we're talking about it. I hope you understand. So very recently, you will be receiving flyers and things that talks about EDAPI. EDAPI is a convention department that talks about ecumenism, development, and interfaith, so that we will be talking about our monarch, our political class. We want to, if a Baptist becomes a senator, the Baptist church should be able to meet with him. We don't have that system. So at the last ministers' conference, it was officially launched at Ogbomosho, and we are thinking of an official launch of it in Nigeria so that it will start as an arm of the Baptist Convention so that our political people will be encouraged. And even if you are a young politician, you will have a forum that you can go and ask questions. So we may not take a service and be answering all the questions. Thank you, and God bless you.
Amen. Wait, Brother Otinwa, I give you the privilege to take that. Wow. Okay, I see another 3. Should we take the 3? Yes. Fine. At your pleasure. Yes. So, Brother Otinwa, Mama Are, and Brother George. So we'll go in that order. Please, after these 3, that's over, Abi. For at least for today. Next year we'll do it again.
Okay, thank you. Just a comment, and that will lead to question. We have so much prejudice among brethren, Christians in Nigeria. And that has prevented us from participating in politics. I have related with politicians. I work with them. I have been a victim of some malpractices. And that has caused me to retreat. The question is, if you want to know who participated, who were present when you were born, during your naming ceremony, who gave offering when you were born, then you join politics. Because politics will make people to dig deep into your past. And this has caused a lot of problem among Christians. The question is, continuous education continuous mobilization and awareness among Christians for them to participate in politics. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. I just would like to have us, my own, personal experience. In 2014, I registered for APC. I was driving home. I saw them registering. I parked. I registered. Just on the 1st of October, we were told that, somebody called me that he saw my membership card, at the point where I registered. So I went and picked up the membership card. And they now said, oh, the following day will be the day for the primaries, the gubernatorial primaries. And I said, okay, fine. Well, this is an opportunity for me to see firsthand. So we went to the venue of Razak Balogun. It's an enclosed place with a gate. We were allowed in with our cards. We sat down under the canopy. The INEC staff and the representatives of the two candidates, they were all there. They were doing accreditation when suddenly the House of Rep member for G1, in the name of